Yeah, good morning, everyone. So last session we learned about working with JavaScript closures, functions, parameters. So we learned last one is about generators, huh? Right. Next we have another important in the function. We have function callbacks, function callback and promise. We have two options. Callback is nothing but, so callback is a technique where function is defined, but it executes according to the state and the situation. Function is defined, but it will not immediately execute. Function will execute according to situation. If condition is matching, it will execute. If not matching, some another function will execute. So that technique is called as callback. But what is problem with callback is synchronous. Synchronous. What does synchronous means? Synchronous means when one function is executing, other functions are blocked. That mechanism is called synchronous. When one function is executing, other functions are blocked. That means at a time, how many functions can execute? Only one. That is callback. Generally, how we write callbacks syntactically. So we define callbacks in this way. Function name here. So we have some callback function. So success or failure. Like this, we have functions. So here, if condition is matching, then it will execute one function, success. If not matching, so else it will execute another function, failure. That is the callback technique. That means out of success and failure, which function will execute? That depends on condition. That means there are multiple functions, but only one function will execute. If condition is matching, success. If it is not matching, failure. This mechanism is called as callback. Callback's problem is these callbacks are synchronous. That is the reason in the modern JavaScript advanced people are using promise. Everywhere callbacks are converted into promise. Earlier, several JavaScript libraries are designed in callbacks, but now they are changing from callback to promise. Why? Because promise is synchronous, asynchronous. Callbacks are synchronous and promise is asynchronous. For example, let's see here. So we are defining. Here, let's check our page. Flipkart, yeah. So in this, suppose we are configuring a function. The function, so the function is having some like fetch data is a function. This function is expecting some URL and it have success and it have failure. Generally, we have a condition. If URL is matching with certain URL, Suppose some http://fake store api.com something. If it is matching, then which function should execute? Success. Otherwise, which function should execute? Failure. This is callback. That means what is URL data type? What is URL data type? It is string. You are comparing with a string. What is the data type of success and failure? Success and failure are I written like this, means they are function type. That means they contains a method to execute. They are function type. So success and failure are what type? Function, method type. And this is also a method type, function type. So we are writing now here, whenever we want fetch data, in that we will use prompt enter URL. After that, we have a function. What this function will do? It will execute on success. What function will do is document.write data fetched successfully. This message will come. Comma, another function. What is this function? This function is document.write. So error. So we say unable to fetch data. Like this we are defined. That means whenever you call this function, it will ask you to enter URL. It is going to ask you to enter URL. If URL is wrong, then it will display error unable to fetch data. If URL is correct, URL is http://fakestore.api.com, then it says data fetched success. So we have two functions. Out of that, one function will execute. This mechanism is called as callback. Callback problem is it is synchronous. When it is working, one function is executing, other functions are blocked. All functions are not executed. That depends on the situation. This is the problem with callbacks. To overcome this issue, to handle this kind of things, to handle the functions without blocking. So in JavaScript advanced, we have promise. Promise is just like a general promise. It is just like a general promise. Actually, promise comprises of three phases. So one phase is initial phase. Another one is resolved. So resolved, and another one is rejected. So this initial phase actually we call as pending. Pending, resolved, rejected. A promise contains three stages: pending, resolved, and rejected. Pending means what? Somebody made a promise and promise is not yet fulfilled. Then it is pending. Promise is not fulfilled. That means it is rejected. Promise is fulfilled. That means it is resolved. So generally promise contains the phases like resolved, rejected, and pending. Before the promise starts, it is called pending phase. Resolve and rejected is nothing like success and failure. Actually, resolve is defined using then, and rejected is defined by using catch. So every promise comprises of one is then, another one is catch, Another one is finally. We know already in exception handling, I told you. In exception handling, we learned about throw, try, catch, finally. Finally is going to execute always. Catch is going to execute when any error occurred. When successful, then will work. Already we used fetch. Fetch is a promise. That fetch promise contains then, catch, and finally like options, right? Hello. Close the doors coming in. Right. So here the promises comprises of these three basic things. Let's see how to create a promise and how do we configure the promise. Syntactically, we create the promise where so reference is equal to new promise, and promise contains a callback function. This callback function comprises of resolve, and it contains rejected. That is how the promises are configured. Promise comprises of a callback. That callback have resolve and rejected. Actually, promise have two basic things. We have promise is having all. All is an array. This is actually generally first give me this option, right? Reference is a promise. That means it will have a promise. It will have then, and it will have catch, and it will have finally. Every promise contains these three. That means it will do the specified work. If it is successful, then it will return then. If it is failure, then it will return catch. Finally, will return every time. So here promise object have all. All is going to execute all the promises. All the promises it is going to execute. Dot then it will return all the promises. It is done asynchronously. We have promise synchronously also. We have promise. Promise we can use race. Race we can define multiple and then, but actually race is synchronous. Synchronous means it will execute only one. So promise all can execute all. Promise race can execute only one. It can execute only one. So that is what actually promise contains. That means the same function we will define using promise. Same we will try to create using promise. This we done with callback. How promise is created? So where fetch data, and the fetch data is equal to new promise. Promise uses a callback function. In this we have resolve and we have reject. Resolve and reject options will be there. Now we will ask where URL is equal to prompt. What is it? Enter URL and we write a condition. If URL is matching with same http fakestoreapi.com, if it is matching, then what should happen? Resolve should send a message. Message is nothing but data fetched successfully. This message should come. Otherwise, what should happen? Which function should execute? Reject. Reject should execute. This reject should say error, and here unable to fetch data. Fetch data. This message should come. That's how we define. Now, how to access a promise? Generally, how we access the promise? Fetch data. In the fetch data, so this is the fetch data function. This is fetch data. Fetch data is a promise. You can see we have then and we have final. Now, how the fetch data is going to work? This is a promise type, right? That means what does a promise type means? It returns what type of value? It is an any type of value. Suppose now what we are doing, so fetch data, suppose we are configuring then. I'm configuring then. So then on fulfilled, what it does, it uses a callback function. In that function, we will get a message and we will print that message. We will print that message. What is the message to print? The message to print is whatever resolve is sending, this message it will catch. Actually, this is message is nothing but what is it? Response. We used fetch now. Fetch have a then. Then is a callback. That callback is returning data in response. Response is the result it returns, right? This response we will print. Document dot write, whatever response is there, it will print. If it is unable to execute successfully, then what we do? Dot catch. Catch is again a callback. Catch will get the error. And this error, it will print. Document dot write, it will print the error. That's how it works. So that means fetch is a promise. This fetch promise will execute. It will take your URL. And what it will do? It will verify whether URL is matching. If URL you entered is matching, then resolve will execute. This resolve will send this data as a response. That response resolve is managed by which function? Then. Reject is managed by which function? Catch. It is going to handle that. Now, what happens here is usually here some more implementation you can do. Enter URL. We are entering some URL. Then it says unable to fetch data. You entered URL. So http://fakestore.api.com. That means data fetched success. Same message, but this time what we are doing, we are using a promise. What is advantage of handling the same situation with promise? Promise is more faster than callback because promise is going to execute in an asynchronous way. By default, promise is asynchronous. So that is the advantage of promise. These days, every library of JavaScript is changing the libraries functions from callbacks to promise. Earlier, everyone is having callbacks. Now, recently, everybody is using promise. Later in, if you are learning Angular, React also, same difference you will find. 1 month, 2 months back, people who learned Angular, React, for them, lot of logic was with callbacks. But from latest version, recent versions, they changed from callbacks to promises. Every callback library changed to promise. That's the reason just 2 months back, advanced JavaScript technologies and current JavaScript technologies library is very much changed. So, and very much means majority everything changed related to callbacks. Instead of callbacks, everything is a promise, right? This is the example of how the promise is configured. How the promise is configured. Actually, promise have so many things, means race and all like functionality. For example, see here, suppose we are creating some promises. So where get categories. Get categories is a new promise, and it uses a callback function that resolve. I'm just using resolve. It is not necessary that every time you have to use resolve and reject. So I am using resolve, and what this resolve will do is it will return. So categories means, for example, I am giving an array. Array some categories like electronics, categories like jewelry. Like this we are doing. Some men's clothing. Like this we are defining. And another where we have get products. Get products is a new promise. And what this is doing, function resolve, resolve. Yeah. And what it is resolving, it is returning all the products. Just roughly, I will give an array like TV, like mobile, like this. I defined something, some watch, some options I am defining. Actually, like this, there can be so many promises. What we have is promise have all. It all is a method which will take an array and array of all promises. That means get categories. Another one is get products. That means all the functions it can take. And what you can do is we are using dot then it will take a callback function. It will read every item. And what we need to do is for where I some reference obj of item. That means we are reading every item and just we are printing document dot write obj. Like this we are defined. Actually, what is the concept of categories and products and all is usually the purpose of this is it returns all of them. That means it is what all can do is it can execute all of them. I will put a BR. It is going to execute all of them. That means it will execute this function. It will execute this function. But all speciality is it is executing all of them in an asynchronous way. Asynchronous way means what it will do. First, it will make a request to categories. After making request to categories, it will make a request to products. Remember, categories is processing. While it is processing, it will not wait. It will go to products. Both are executed and result will come. This mechanism is called as asynchronous. Synchronous means what? First categories is executed. After categories, when categories is executing, products is blocked. After categories finished, then products will execute. But promise will not do like that. Promise will execute all at a time. If it is executing all at a time, then it will be more fast. This is called asynchronous. Earlier in old technologies, we used to use a concept called multi-threading. If you are learning technologies like Java, .NET everywhere, multi-threading is a big concept. That multi-threading manages this. But these days we are not using multi-threading. We are using asynchronous programming. And this is in JavaScript, asynchronous programming is this. There is one more option. Actually, we can use, this is another example. We can use like instead of all, we can use race. We have a race. But very important, this race is going to return only one. Race is going to return only the first one. It is not going to return the second one. That means race will execute how many at a time? Only one at a time. Even you give multiple, it is going to execute only one. This is called synchronous. Race is synchronous, all is asynchronous. That means if you want to execute all functions at a time, then you have to give it as all. Only one at a time. That means then you have to use the option race. Even there are many functions, it will not execute. It will execute only one. So this is synchronous way. the way how it executes. This is another one. So what is difference between a promise and a callback? The difference between a promise and a callback: promise is asynchronous, so and a callback is synchronous. Promise can work as synchronous also. You can change according to the situation, right? So these days, all the functions are transformed into promises, right? What is advantage of being asynchronous? It is more faster in rendering, right? That is, this is callback and promise. Next important, in JavaScript, we have anonymous functions. Anonymous function. In JavaScript, another one is anonymous function. Anonymous function means a function without name is known as anonymous function. A function without name is known as anonymous function. Generally, actually, so anonymous functions are used in callbacks, and promises. Are used in callback and promise. Actually, anonymous function means function without name. In callbacks and in promises, we have to write functions, but those functions don't have a name. If they don't have a name, how they work? Function, if it is having a name, then only we can execute. If function is not having a name, how it will execute? So anonymous functions execute by using IIFE pattern. They execute by using IIFE pattern. IIFE pattern is nothing but immediately invoked function expression. IIFE pattern means immediately invoked function expression. They are executed using IIFE pattern, immediately invoked function expression. Immediately invoked function expression means you don't need to call them in a callback. They will execute automatically. If success function immediately executes. So how IIFE works, I will show you. For example, see, so we have a script and we have a function. Function is not having name, and document dot write. So welcome to functions, something. Now this function is not having a name, then how it will work? Actually, it is an error. But generally, if function is not having a name, we keep this in a parenthesis. If function is not having a name, it is kept in a parenthesis like this. And if it is kept in a parenthesis, then how we can access it is immediately after the function, we use empty parenthesis. Suppose I am not giving anything, then you will see there is nothing output is there. And you put immediately after that an empty parenthesis, that is immediately invoking. Immediately invoking, it can execute and return. That is IIFE, immediately invoked function expression. So that means the function gets immediately invoked. This is not only this, actually, suppose var hello is equal to function. I told you this is function expression. This is function expression. Document dot write. Suppose I say hello JavaScript, something like this. Right now, what happens is here, how to execute this function? We call the variable. Variable name is what? Hello. In that variable, there is a memory. In the memory, there is a function, but that function don't have name. If function don't have name, how to access it? Parenthesis. That means actually hello is not a function. Hello is a variable. In that variable, there is a function. We are invoking that function immediately after the variable name. Variable name. This is IAFE. That means it's not a special concept. It is IAFE. IAFE means what? Immediately invoke. Function don't have a name, then how it will invoke? It will invoke by using this technique. That means now it is going to execute. It is going to execute the both options. This mechanism is anonymous. Anonymous means function don't have name. If a function don't have name, then we can call the function by using IAFE. Why a function don't have name? Function don't have name when we define them as callbacks, or when we define them as promises, or when we define them as expression. If a function is used as an expression, a function is used in callback, a function is used in promise, then functions don't have name. Already I showed you callback. In callback also, function don't have name. What is success? What is failure? Success is memory. In that memory, we have a function. You saw now? Here, see callback related logic, how we written. So we written like this, success and failure. And see here in the fetch data, we have a function without name. Their function don't have a name, right? It's an empty function without name. So this is the anonymous function. How that function executes? That function loads in success. What success is? Success is memory. In the memory, there is an anonymous function which executes by immediately invoking. By immediately invoking, it executes. That is what actually the nature. The same thing you done in promise also. In promise, you written a function and it doesn't have a name. Directly function parameters are there. This is which type of function? Anonymous. Now, the question here is, can anonymous function have parameters? It can have anything, same. Only the point is, suppose you see now, suppose this is anonymous function. In this anonymous function, we have MSG and document.write. Document.write, what we are doing, MSG plus BR. That means whenever you call the function, into that we pass the message. Right? Here we will say hello, hello functions, something like this. And you can see that this is going to pass into that. That means even anonymous functions also can have parameters. Those parameters are passed while invoking the function. Invoking the function. This mechanism is called IIFE. Immediately invoked function expression. These are immediately invoked function expressions. That is an anonymous function. Next important in the functions, these are all advanced JavaScript related concepts, right? Another important, we have function recursion. Remember whatever you learned from last 2 days, these are the topics asked majority in interviews, right? The concept of functions, whatever you learned, majority of JavaScript interviews questions will be related to this. Even for senior people also, majority of interview questions will be on this concept, so related to functions and all. These questions are asked even for React, Angular developers. So you must be strong in understanding this. What is function recursion? Actually, it is nothing but recursion. Recursion is a technique where a function is called within its scope. A function is called within its scope. Generally, function is called outside the function. But what is recursion means? Recursion is nothing but you have a function f1. Generally, what we do, we call the function f1 inside f1. This is recursion. And why you need this? Why you need a recursion type technique? Why you need to create such recursions? Recursions actually is nothing but recursion. Recursion is used to create batch operations. It is used to create batch operations. Recursion is used to create batch operation. Batch operation means some tasks need to perform repeatedly, but how many times we are not sure. Until the condition satisfies, it should perform. For example, if I ask that a task should perform repeatedly, then you will think about loops, creating loops. Suppose I want a loop to run 10 times, then you will write I less than 10. If I say a loop should run 100 times, you will write less than 100. If I say that a loop should run one day, a loop should run 24 hours, then can you write any loop using time? Right? You say that loop should run for 1 hour. Can you write a loop for hour? It's not possible. So, because in 1 hour, depending on the task, how many times it may change. Right? The point here is how you can create such loops. That is done by using recursions. Recursion. Batch operation means nothing but generally software developers, what they do is, if every day they have to do some tasks in a order, then what they do, they will keep all those tasks in one file. And they will call that file, and automatically that file will do all the tasks. That file is called batch. We call them as batch files. That's a very common thing for software development. Actually, you see, suppose I have a command prompt. So you see here, I am writing a copy con. Suppose you see, suppose there is date command. Date command returns the date. Time command returns the time. And dirw command returns the files list like this. Now what I want is every day after opening my computer, I want to run these three things regularly. Then instead of typing them every day, 3 means okay, some 10 tasks I need to do regularly in the same order. Then writing every time is risky. Then what we do is I am creating a file, copycon some job.bat. Copycon is a command used for creating files from command prompt, right? And file name is bat file. In that I will type date, in that I will type time, in that I will type dr/w. What commands I want, in which sequence I want, I will type. And I will close, Control Z, close, and file created. Now, whenever I want those three commands, then I will just run the file name, job, enter. It will execute those files. Whenever I want those three tasks, then just I run job. It will execute all these. These are called batch operations. These are general computer operating related basics. Means any software developer knows how to do his work regularly in the same pattern. He will create some batch jobs and he will keep them. Actually, you have seen a lot of batch jobs already. Suppose you have seen how to install Bootstrap. How to install Bootstrap npm install Bootstrap. Okay, without installing, how to get Bootstrap? Without installing, how to get Bootstrap? How you will get CDN? You have to visit the website, copy the CDN, paste the CDN, and use the CDN. Right? After installing this, that means when you do this, that means if you want offline, then how you'll do? If I want offline, then how to do? Visit Bootstrap website. There will be a download option. Click the download. A zip folder will download. Extract the zip folder. All the Bootstrap files will come. Copy them. Go to your project. In your project, add a new folder called node modules. In that folder, paste. That is how people do without the command. Do you know what this command is? It is a batch job. This command, every command that you run through npm is a batch operation. Batch job means what? That means when you run this, do you know what will happen? First step, it will connect with Bootstrap site. Second step, it will download all the files. Third step, it will create a folder called node modules. Fourth step, it will paste all the files in that. All these 4 steps are automatically performed one after another because you run a batch job. Actually, it is a batch job. For example, see now, I'm using this npm install Bootstrap, hit enter. Suppose it is downloading Bootstrap and suddenly I use Control C. Control C means it says terminate batch job. Control C means stop it before it completes. Control C, terminate batch job. It is saying that terminate the batch job. That means it is a batch job actually. So I say yes, terminates. You see, we created a batch job na job. I entered date will come. After date, time will come. After time, dir will come. If I want to stop, Control C. Control C, terminate batch job. Same thing came there also. That means all these are what? All these are batch jobs. All these are batch jobs. What a batch job means is recursion technique. See recursion, how it works. Suppose I will create a file, copy con again, some files dot bat. In that I am using dir/w. So that means, or dir, it means files list will come. After that I am writing files and close. What is this? Files is a batch job. In that batch job, which job is present? In that batch job, dir is present. After dir, what it is doing? Again running the batch job. What this batch job will do? Again it will run dir. Dir will run batch job. That means this is an infinite loop with just 2 lines. We created an infinite loop with 2 lines. That means a file is called within that file. Then see what happens now. I run files. Then it will run for continuous, infinite. It will never stop. It will never stop until you stop manually. How do we stop manually? Control C, terminate batch job. Yes, will terminate. Generally, we use this in various. For example, you know, networking people run a command ping -t 127.0.0.1. This is my server address and I am using a ping to verify server is running or not, and hit enter. Then you see reply is coming from server. Continuously the reply is coming from my server. This is a batch operation. If my server stopped in the background, it will say request timed out, request timed out. If server stopped, currently, when it will stop, it will never stop. You have to stop manually. That means I press Control C, then it will stop. And you can see it will show the statistics, how many bytes sent, how many bytes received. It will display all the details. Technically, these are all batch operations. Such batch operations are created by using a technique called recursion. Recursion means calling the function inside that function so that it repeats it. It repeats it. When you call a function outside, it will repeat only once. You call it several inside, again repeats until the condition is satisfied, right? For example, one small example I will show here. Suppose recursion. Recursion is, suppose I said function factorial. I am giving factorial. Factorial of n. If n is equal to 0, then what it should do? It should return 1. And that means factorial should stop at 1. It should not stop at 0. And else what should happen? Else what should happen? It should return n into factorial of n minus 1. That's it. That means without creating a loop, you can create this. Now the same thing I will give you, you can try. You created a multiplication table I showed you. We have a multiplication table, finding the numbers, even numbers, printing odd numbers until 1 to 100 or 10 something you do by using without loop. In many interviews, what they say, without writing a loop, print a multiplication table. Without using a loop, print numbers from 1 to 10. Such task they give. Then what you have to implement by using recursion. Here, do you know what will happen now? Suppose I am giving factorial document dot write. I am giving here factorial of 5 is, and we will print here factorial of which number? 5. That means now when I pass factorial of 5, here you can see the number 5 is passed. Am I right? When number 5 is passed, so what it will do? So 5 into, there is an option. What is that option? Factorial of 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1. That means here 5 minus 1 is how much? 4. That means what will happen? 20. After 20, so actually this becomes factorial of 4. Na? Factorial of 4 means it will execute again. It will execute again. Next time what it will do? 20 into what it is? It is factorial. Factorial of how much? 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1, 3. That means how much? 60. And what will happen? This will execute the factorial of what? 3. It will execute factorial of 3. Then again it will be 60 into factorial of what it is? 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. That means how much? 120. After that, the factorial function executes again. That factorial is how much? 2 minus 1. Actually, this is 2. That means now what will happen here? So again it will execute. That means, so 120 into what it is? Factorial of 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. That means it will be 120. After that what happens? So it will become factorial of what? 1. Factorial of, actually it is 2 minus 1 is 1. Again it will come back and it will become what it is? Factorial of 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. If it is 0, it will return 1 and stop. It will return 1 and stop. That's it. That means it will be up to how much? 120. This we can write with a loop. In interviews, they ask two ways. They say that with loop write and without loop write. Like that, they ask many tasks. They say that without loop, do the same work. With loop, do the same work. Without loop, how you will do the work? By using recursion technique. Here, what we are doing, we are calling a function within that function. Now, this is recursion technique. It is going to print that value there. So the factorial of 6 is, I will pass the value of 6. That means it is going to return that and display. These kind of expressions we usually create and manage by using recursion technique. That is a function recursion concept, how the function recursion works. Right? Next important, another concept here is we have another option, that is a function, arrow functions. Arrow functions. Arrow function is nothing but it is a shorthand way of writing function. It is a shorthand way of writing function. You can write the functions in a shortcut way. That means actually minified. So it is good for function expression, callback and promise. It is good for function expression and callback and promise. It is very shortcut technique. Whenever you are writing expressions, callbacks and promises, then you can save the time by writing a function arrow. Arrow is nothing but actually, suppose we have a function and this function is having a parameter. That means suppose we have a function parameter, let's say like this, where hello is having a function is having a parameter MSG, and what it is going to do, it is going to return, suppose it is going to return document.write, so MSG. Understood? Now, how you can write this in a shorthand way? In a shorthand way, we can write like this, where hello is equal to MSG implies document.write what MSG is. Like this, you can write. That is the shorthand way. This is function parameter and implies is function return. What it returns, you can write like this. That means the definition and the return can be written like this. Definition and the return. For example, there is no parameter where welcome is equal to empty and it will return document.write welcome, something like this. If there is no parameter, then empty. If there are many parameters, suppose where addition is equal to a comma b, it returns a plus b. That's very shortcut. That's very simple. That means what it is doing, what is the parenthesis is defining? Defining a parenthesis is function and implies is return and definition. Definition and return are defined in this way. If there are many statements, then we can write like this. This is what multiple statements. Multiple statements are there, then you can define return or definition like this. This is the shortcut way of writing a function. Very shortcut way of writing function. For example, you see here, suppose I will give the shortest technique how it actually works. See here, I am writing a simple function. So we have a function var and we have addition. addition is equal to a comma b and implies a plus b. That's it. That means now document dot write. So addition is equal to addition of 10 comma 20. That's it. Now it is going to return that and display. This is a function with parameters and with some return. So you can have, I will put a BR. Okay. I can have like var hello. Hello is equal to a function and it returns a string hello world, something like this. It is directly returning a string. So what we do, document dot write hello. That's it, because it is directly returning a string. And you can see it prints that message. That means you can directly define return. If there are many statements to return, then what we can do? If there are many statements, then we have var welcome is equal to return. You write expression block like this. When to write block? If there are many statements. If one statement is there, no need of block. If many statements are there, we write the block. In the block, document dot write statement 1, so BR. And we have another document dot write, so statement 2, like this we define. Now, whenever we want, we can just access that welcome like this. That welcome is going to print the statement 1 and statement 2. Hello world also. After hello world, I will give BR. And you can see it will print those. This is the shorthand way of writing functions. We call this technique as what? Arrow. We call this technique as arrow. These are arrow. In modern JavaScript, nobody writes the word function. In modern JavaScript, in callbacks, in promises, we don't use the word function. We directly use callback. So see now, suppose we have used fetch. See how we write. I am writing fetch http://fakestore.api.com/what products/what categories. After that dot then uses a callback function. Earlier how to write? We write a function. Function contains what? Response, and we have to return what? Response dot JSON. But now this is written in a shorthand way. That means response is the parameter and return response.json. This is shortcut. That is shortcut. It is same concept, but we don't write the word function, right? The parameter need not to have parenthesis. If there are two parameters, parenthesis. Single parameter, you don't need parenthesis. What implies tells what it should return. Implies is return word. It uses return keyword. Now, similarly, what is then? Then is we collect the categories. Categories is an array. We need to present the array. Then we write a multi-line expression. That means now what is this? This is the categories. It is also a callback function. In that function, categories. Now just we have to use categories dot what? Map. Observe here, map is again callback function. Here again, we can read every category and implies every category is printed in document dot write. It is printed in li. Li is list item, and here we will put the category name. That means everywhere now arrow is used. Everywhere arrow is used. We are not using function word anywhere. Right? All arrow technique we are using. Even in a map, find, filter, everywhere arrow. That means now you can see it is doing the same work and displaying. This time this is arrow technique. all your callbacks and all your promises you can replace with arrow. That is the best way actually. That means we created a promise now. How we created a promise where fetch data is equal to new what? Promise. Promise uses a callback function. That function contains resolve and reject. And what it should return. That's it. It returns based on condition where URL is equal to prompt, enter URL, right? Now here I defined if URL is equal to some fake store, api.com. Okay, just roughly I given. Then what we should do? Resolve. Resolve is says success. Else what we will do? Reject. Reject will say error. That's the option. Now, how do we access that? We have to use fetch data dot what then uses a callback function, then uses a callback function. This function will get the message and it will return the message. Return the message where it will return document dot write. It will return message. After that, catch uses another callback function. It will return the error. And where it will return the error. So document dot write error. That's what we do. This is the shorthand way of writing. Shorthand way. Already we know minification like concept na. URL something wrong, it says error. URL is a fake store api.com, then it is success. The same thing, but this time we are not using the word function anywhere. So this is arrow technique, all how we can manage the arrow. The concept of working with varos, right? These are all the functions how we can manage, right? So many things you learned about functions. All these are advanced in very advanced in the concept of JavaScript, right? So in majority of advanced JavaScript questions, these are all are asked. From closure to promises, generators, recursions, arrows, everything, callbacks. These are all very advanced concepts you should remember. So if you are attending interviews, by heart this, right? Because you should know these in as a web developer, because all interviews questions will be these on. Actually, we have another point is, generally another point is, in many interviews they ask this also. They ask like function debounce. Function debounce. Generally, function debouncing also a simple point actually. Bouncing and debouncing, and bouncing is very much required, especially while working with keyboards. I told you that we are using keyboards. They are not typewriters. What is difference between typewriter and keyboard? In typewriter, when you press a key, only once it will type and stop. You know typewriter, na? You press, hold down a key, only once it will print and it will stop. But in keyboard, you hold down a key, it repeats. That is the difference. So generally you people say I am typing. Keyboard will not type. Keyboard will not type. That is a wrong word actually. Typewriter is typing. Keyboard is keying in. We call the word keying in. Keying in. Generally all people say, what you are doing, I am typing. This is not a typewriter. This is a keyboard. Keyboard never types. Keyboard always keys in. We call as keying in actually. Right? What is the concept of debounce? Any electric students are there? Electronics engineers? Huh? Electronical engineers are there? There are? Don't worry. Right? Because those people know this word. Huh? Anyone is there? Why you are hiding last? You are electrical engineer. Huh? Right? Why? Because our electrical engineers BTech, na? They don't know how to repair a fan at their home. If fan is not working, they will call electrician. Then what you learned? You are electrical engineer. You can't repair your fan. You can't repair your bulb. Two wires are disconnected. You can't connect them. But 4 years you done electrical engineering. So these all words are related to electronics only. Software programming, I told you now. Majority everything is electronics. Debounce means don't know. Actually, bouncing is nothing but suppose you are using TV remote. When you are using TV remote also keyboard will be there. So what happens now? You hold down one key and you have some delay in releasing. Then it will execute several times. It will execute several times. That means you see, suppose you hold down a key and you see some channels are changing. Suppose you hold down a key, channels will not change very fast. They will change slowly. 1 second, one channel. After that, even you hold down, it will wait few seconds. And after that, it will send another channel. That means even when you hold down, the tasks are not given fast. They will be delayed. How they will be delayed? That is called debounce. That means even the work is given, it is not performed immediately. It will wait for some time. Why? Because you hold down one key and it is released. You haven't released immediately. You just took few seconds. Within the few seconds, it will run 2-3 times. That is not good. Then that remote will not work properly. Then what they do in that, they set a debounce time. Debounce time means even there is a delay in releasing that key, it will not execute immediately. It will take some time. That means even you hold down a key, it will not execute immediately. It will take some time. This is called debounce. Generally, bounce is a concept of keyboard where next function executes immediately. Next function executes immediately when you hold down a key. So what debounce is doing is debounce can delay the execution. That's what debouncing is. And you can configure debounce by using set timeout event. Actually, this is a timer event. I told you timer events na. In date and time, I told you set interval. And when we discussed about date and time, I showed you set interval, loading and all I showed you. Actually, this is set timeout. Set timeout means it will not allow to execute the function immediately. It will take time. That is good, actually. That is taking some time in execution. So what happens if it executes immediately? We can't see it. Generally, what we do syntactically, we give here set timeout Set timeout uses a callback function. This function will execute as per the interval. That means it will not execute immediately. It will execute after certain time interval. I will show you that concept here. That means how this works. Suppose I am giving a simple button say load messages, and there is a paragraph. Now we are writing on click is load click. Okay, we are writing a script, and we have a function message1 document.query selector. In the paragraph, we are displaying inner HTML hello. Okay, so we have another one, message 2, message 3, message 2 and message 3. Hello, here somehow are you. So then here, welcome to JavaScript. Like this, we are defining. Now, what we are doing is when function load click, on load click, we will call all three messages. Message 1, message 2, and message 3. All three messages are called. Message 1, 2, 3, all are called. Now see what happens here is when I click on load messages button, it will load last one. What happened to first and second? They also loaded, but you can't see. They also loaded, but you can't see because it is so fast that you can't see at all. But they loaded. That means it is a fraction of, even a fraction of millisecond. That so fast we can't see. We feel like only overwriting. It is not overwriting. All three printed. It is not overwriting, but it is so fast that we can't see it. This is the problem that happens bouncing. That means message 1 and 2 are bouncing. Why they are bouncing? Because you click the button so fast so that we feel like last one is executed, but first, second, third, all are executed. Then how user can see first one, second one? That means now what we can do is whenever we give these messages, we debounce them. How we debounce them is just by using set timeout. Set timeout first message 1, it will be released into memory after 3000 milliseconds. Then set timeout message 2 will be released after 4000 after some 7000 milliseconds. That means all are loaded into memory at a time, but after 3 seconds first message released, after 7 seconds second message released. That means what is the distance time difference between first and second? 4 seconds. Right? It doesn't means that after 3 seconds, 7 seconds. It means that first one at 3 seconds, second one at 7. Now I will give another one, set timeout. I will say message 3. So message 3, it will be 10,000 milliseconds. Then see what will happen now. When I click on load messages, now even the click is very fast, right? They will not execute fast. They will execute slowly. First message, after a few seconds, second message, after a few seconds, third message. This is debounce. That means when you give the tasks are performed very fast. There is no time at all. Then so many tasks will go unnoticed. If you want user to know what is the action being performed, then you need to delay the tasks. We call this mechanism as debounce, so that it is not executed immediately. It will take some time. That is the debounce mechanism. And actually, in this debounce mechanism, After a function is loaded into memory, before it is executed, you can cancel. Before it is executed, you can cancel. So how you can do that is you can cancel the function from memory by using clear timeout. You can use clear timeout. That means, for example, I will give here another button. I will give a button on click is on click, say cancel click. Okay, on cancel click, I will say cancel second message. Your wish, you can cancel any message you want. But remember how to cancel the second message. We have a function cancel click. On cancel click, I need to cancel. How you can cancel this message? All three are loaded into memory. How to cancel? In which memory first message is there? We don't have any memory reference. All three are loaded into memory, but they don't have a memory reference. Then what we do? We put a var M1, M2, and M3. Three memories are allocated. They are global now. Then in M1, the first one will be working. In M2, second one will be working. And in M3, third one is working. Without that also all are working. But if you give the memory reference, later you can access them. That means when cancel click, what should happen? We have to use clear timeout. Clear timeout. Which one to clear? M2 to clear. That's it. And remember, you have to do that before it is released from the memory. If it is released from memory, after that you click, doesn't happen. You cannot cancel. You cannot cancel. That is the reason you see many transactions you can't cancel. Online, you are doing some payment. You clicked post button. That means submit button or pay button. After that, no cancel. There is no cancel if you have observed. Right? You click the pay button. That's done. Finish. That means that is the reason even you are disconnected, the money is deducted from your bank account. So many times you might have faced that internet disconnected while doing transaction, but money is debited. How? If it is disconnected, why it is debited? Because when you click the button, that work is immediately executed. Response, confirmation message disconnected. You think that it is not confirmed, but actually it is confirmed. But it is just disconnected to show you message, it is not possible. Right? Due to that, what happens? You will feel like transaction not happened, but transaction finished. Because that is the time taken. We have to control that. If you delay, it will be finished. Right? That means you see now, I click on load messages. Messages are executing. And after second message, I say click on cancel. It's not canceling. You can't cancel that. Once it is released into memory, you can't cancel the second message. Let's do, I click on load message. After that, I click on cancel second. Now second message is cancelled from memory. Directly third message will come. You can see after hello, third will come. If you do little delay in clicking that, it is released into memory. Once it is released, then you can't stop it. You can't cancel that, right? So after loading the tasks into memory, we can cancel them. We can set a delay time for them. That is the mechanism of debounce. That is the mechanism of debouncing, right? So this is one simple concept to understand. In some senior developers interviews, this is asked, what is debounce, how debounce works and all. There is one more concept called throttle. Throttle is later you will see in events. I will show you. Initially, these are all about the concept of functions. Now let's take a JavaScript advanced topics in functions. Tell me them some advanced topics you learned in functions. So one is about parameters are common. So rest parameter is new. Rest parameter is new. Rest parameter is new. What else? Spread is new. So spread is new. Another one, the new advanced things you need to know about the topics. Actually, closure is already there. Closure are all old concepts only. They are not advanced, right? But sometimes people think they are advanced. They are not advanced, right? So function spread, function rest, right? What else? Promise. Promise is new, right? Actually, promise generators also, generator promise are there in JavaScript, but latest version made them available to all. That means from the latest versions, they are available to all, right? So I already told you now there is a symbol type. Symbol type is already there in JavaScript, but they made it available now. So these are all concepts important. Recursions and all are already there, right? So timer functions, debouncing, everything is already there, right? Some new concepts are rest, spread, promise, generators. Arrow is also a new technique. Some new techniques in writing the shorthand ways, right? These are all the advanced topics, right? Rest of all those are already there. So multiple parameters, callbacks, another one, function, anonymous types, IIFE pattern, all are already there. They are all old topics. They are not new or advanced concept. Closures and all, they are old concepts only, right? So many times if people say that closures and all are advanced, they are not advanced because a function cannot be there with a closure. Every function by default have a closures. These are all the some new things you need to understand about the functions. I hope you are clear in understanding all these. Next important, once we know this in JavaScript about functions, we need to know about JavaScript OOP, object-oriented programming. In JavaScript OOP concept, we need to understand. Actually, JavaScript is not a OOP language. I told you already in the introduction. It is not a OOP language. It will not support all OOP features. It will support only few. Actually, so in real time development, three programming systems are mostly used. We have POPS, we have OBPS, and we have OOPS. Three types of programming systems are very popular: POPS, OBPS, and OOPS. Actually, POPS is process oriented programming system. Process oriented programming system. What is specialty about this is they support low level features. They support low level features. So the problem in this is the advantage is they can directly interact with hardware services. They can directly interact with hardware services. They are faster and they use less memory. These are all the advantages of POPS, process oriented programming system. Example for this is C, Pascal. This comes under COBOL. All these comes under this POPS. process oriented programming systems. They have less, they use less memory, they are faster, they have low level features which can directly interact with hardware. They are good in certain occasions. For example, you see, suppose we are having air conditions, refrigerators, washing machines, microwave ovens. Those softwares, those are controlled by using a software. That means you have a remote. Through remote, you can control the speed of fan. That means remember Java.NET, they can't do directly like that. That means Java.NET like technologies, like programs, cannot directly interact with a fan. They don't support low level features. So that is the reason you will not see a Java program, .NET program. They are very high level languages, very advanced applications are built, but they are not used in refrigerator, washing machines and all. Why? Because in them, there will be a small chip, and that small chip, in that a program will be kept. That program we have to control with the remote. That means don't think that these small devices are used. Not only that, high level scientific applications also done with POPSM. For example, NASA uses Pascal. NASA people use Pascal as a language to control satellites and control the rovers. That means they are very high level. That means why they control by using that, because generally NASA people have a rover on Mars. They control that rover from here. From Earth, they control. Do you know? They give a command, turn left. Then after 15 days on Mars, it will turn left. It is not like remote control game. You are watching on screen playing. It is not like that. You say turn left. After 10-15 days, it will turn left on Mars. That means it will take 10-15 days to reach there. Command takes that much time to reach there. And remember, the rover weight will be equal to your hard disk weight. They can't send millions of TB space. They have to send a small integrated chip into it. Very small integrated chip they have to send. In that integrated chip, all the programs are handled. That is the reason, do you know, whenever a satellite is launched, they will set a lifespan, saying that after 4 years, this will not work anymore. Why? After 4 years, what will happen? It will die. Satellite dies after 4 years. Then, because you see our Mars mission failed. Failed means moon mission failed. Moon mission failed means rover failed, but satellite is still revolving around moon. Rover launching failed, but satellite is still revolving. Our Mars mission also. Our Mars mission, India Mars mission says that, so 2 months is the lifespan. Why 2 months lifespan? That means a satellite is revolving around Mars 2 months. After that, only the point is its memory will be full. It cannot take any commands. You cannot erase the commands. You cannot take new commands. Then you have lost communication with it. You will lose communication with it. Now it is on its own. That means for two months or 2 years, it can take commands. After that, its memory full. That means you are saying that NASA, ISRO people are saying memory full. They can send millions of TB. They can't send. They can't send because they need to send a small chip, lightweight. In that, they can store only limited. These are all POPs, process-oriented program. So, I think recently I hope you people don't show any much interest in that, but visit ISRO site. In ISRO site, careers will be there. In careers, they have recently posted career opportunities in ISRO for freshers. So that means BTech, electronics, electrical engineering people. For all these people, they posted jobs recently. You visit their website, you will see. And those jobs completely ask only one language, C programming. That's enough. They don't ask any .NET or Java, anything. They just ask C programming is required. They will conduct the test on that and on your electronic subjects, right? But many people even don't know about those jobs. You always people look for Naukri. ISRO people will not put Naukri, right? In ISRO site, you will find such jobs. Why people don't show much interest? Because that is government form. They will give you maximum 40,000, 30,000 initial scale. After that, maximum 1 lakh, 2 lakh, the scale. Depends, right? You people immediately want 2, 3 lakhs. So software people are like that. That's the reason they don't show much interest in those areas, but there are a lot of opportunities there. Because many times, several people, those job opportunities get lapsed because people don't apply for them, right? You can see still in careers, that will be there, right? So the point is there, we need only one programming. Which kind of programming? POPS. What is the problem in POPS? Reusability issues. Reusability issues are there. We cannot reuse. Extensibility issues are there. We cannot extend the code. We cannot reuse the code. We cannot extend the code. Have you ever seen that air condition software is updated in AC? Fridge software is updated in fridge. Is there any such thing? No. At the time of manufacturing, what they kept, the same will be there. Will commands change? Commands will never change. That means there is no extensibility. We cannot extend. We cannot extend. Extensibility is not there. Reusability is not there. That's all the issues actually. Then same like no dynamic memory. All such are the problems in POPS. Then we have another one, OBPS. OBPS means object-based programming system. OBPS is object-based programming system. It supports reusability. It supports extensibility, but limited. Not all extensibility features. So it supports reusability, extensibility, dynamic memory, and all. Example is JavaScript. JavaScript comes under this category. JavaScript, Visual Basic, this comes under this category. They are object-based programming. What is the problem in them is, the problem is, so here extensibility issues will be there. What is another problem? Extensibility issues are there. What is the another problem? Another problem is code level security issues will be there. Code level security issues will be there. So all these are the problems in OBPS, object-based programming. That means no abstractions. There will be no abstraction. There will be no templates mechanism. All these are the problems. These people learn in OOPS actually. Now that is OBPS. So what is another one we have? OOPS. What it is? Object-oriented programming system. What are the advantages? It supports reusability. It supports extensibility. It supports security, code level security. It supports abstraction. It supports templates. Everything are present in OOPS. What example is like C++, like Java, like C Sharp. These are all OOP. What are the drawbacks? So many drawbacks are there. Drawbacks like uses more memory. So they are slow in interactions. Another point is they are very complex in configuration. Configuration. Another important problem is OOP cannot directly interact with the hardware. They cannot directly interact with hardware. These are all drawbacks. That's the reason we don't prefer OOP everywhere. OOP languages are not best every time. For example, you are using Android phones. Do you know Android phones are built with which language? Android use core Java. Android uses core Java. That is what actually OOP language. They use core Java. Now you have an 20,000 Android phone. You have a 1,000 rupees phone, which is not a smartphone. You know, smartphones without touch screen smart. What operating system they use? Do you know? You have character based phones now. Which operating system they use? They use an operating system called Symbian. There is an operating system called Symbian. You have a 1,000 rupee phone, you have a 20,000 rupee phone. You turn on these two phones, 1,000 rupee phone will get ready first. Your 20,000 phone is still loading, right? Your 20,000 phone hangs up. This 1,000 rupee phone never hangs up. It will be fast in responding. If you are looking for features, you have to compromise with speed and space. If you are not looking for features, then character based is best. That depends. That is the reason. If you are looking for features, you have to compromise with speed. You have to compromise with the space because you need more space. You need more memory to handle. That is what the problems with OOP. OOP languages have so many drawbacks. That's the reason everywhere they are not used. Is JavaScript OOP language? No, it is not a OOP language. Some options of OOP are supported. Those options we are going to learn. So you are not learning OOP concept. So we should never compare with OOP. We have to just learn what is provided by JavaScript. Right? JavaScript provides few OOP concepts. Those we will learn. That we will see in next session. Right? So tomorrow we will continue. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss all the OOP concepts of JavaScript. Right?